The big story, viewers, we have for you is what Russian foreign minister, in fact, has said. Moscow is seeing a bigger role for New Delhi. As far as Iran war diplomacy is concerned, Russia is now batting for India. Russian foreign minister, in fact, has advocated for India, for New Delhi as long-term mediator. Lavrov highlighted India's diplomatic credibility. Russia is backing a bigger diplomatic role for India amid the Iran conflict. Russian foreign minister highlighted India's credibility and a long-term diplomatic balance, putting the global spotlight on New Delhi's growing geopolitical clout. So this is the latest update that we are getting for you. Listen into this reaction.
You can see that Pakistan is helping establish dialogue between Iran and the United States to resolve the urgent problems, to resolve the existing crisis. And if we speak long-term, mediator between Iran and its Arab friends, well, this role could be played by India, considering its vast diplomatic experience and authority and clout.
All right, so big statement there coming in from Russia's foreign minister, who currently is in India for the BRICS foreign ministers meeting. A very, very important role he thinks New Delhi can really play, given what's happening across West Asia. As far as West Asia and the Iran war diplomacy is concerned, Russia seems to be backing a bigger diplomatic role for New Delhi amid the Iran conflict. Russian foreign minister, you just heard, highlighting the credibility of India and long-term diplomatic balance, putting the global spotlight on New Delhi's growing geopolitical clout. Now, it is very, very significant because so far, Pakistan, in fact, has been the mediator of talks between US and Iran, and we all have seen how talks have really went between both the sides. In fact, Suresh Goyal, former diplomat, joining us on the broadcast as well. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you for speaking with us here on Times Now. Your first reaction to what Russian foreign minister has said? Sir, could you unmute yourself, please?
My apologies. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's a very welcome statement from the Russian foreign minister. Kind of expected, considering the relationship that exists between India and Russia, and considering that till now the mediation efforts or the efforts to really bring peace to Iran have basically depended on or really moved around on one country, which is not at all trustworthy or reliable as a mediator. And the things have not really happened the way one could have looked at. My only thought would be that while it's a very welcome idea from the Honorable Foreign Minister of Russia, we should look at the role for India in the whole situation very, very carefully. It's a very messy situation. It has already led to the fragmentation in Gulf. The West Asian peace is not entirely dependent now on what Iran does or the opening of the Straits of Hormuz. It will require the whole restructuring of the security in Gulf. And therefore, while it's welcome and India has good relations with both Gulf, USA and Iran, we must really look at the whole thing in a very cautious manner, because as they say, where angels fear to tread. Therefore, we should not just walk in there, only after very careful thought. Yes.
Very interesting views there. And interestingly, if we look at what exactly Russian foreign minister, in fact, has said, he said that Pakistan is helping establish dialogues between US and Iran to resolve urgent problems. If they seek a long-term mediator between Iran and its Arab friends, this role could be played by India, considering its vast diplomatic experience. So perhaps for a long-term scenario is something that Russia is now seeing, wherein it thinks that New Delhi can play a very important role. But the question really is, should India really be getting into something like this? Will it be prudent, given the given how the circumstances are right now?
Can I add something here? Is it addressed to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yes, you're absolutely right. In fact, the point is, in the immediate term, Pakistan is trying to bring about some kind of an agreement between Iran and the USA, and Israel will have to be part of it. But the problem is that Pakistan does not recognize Israel, and therefore it's going to be limited. But even more importantly, if Foreign Minister Lavrov really wants India to come in the long term and as a more kind of long-term mediator, long-term truce builder, peace builder, given the state of relationship between India and Pakistan, and given how Pakistan operates, till we know what Pakistan actually has done, till we know what Pakistani ideas have been, and not everything is out in the open, we don't even know whether Pakistan has played the role in a fair manner. To pick up the threats from where Pakistan actually leaves or does not leave, and if Pakistan continues to play that short-term role, is going to be even more difficult for India. And therefore, while Russia may think that India and Pakistan can work together in the same area on bringing peace to Iran, given the kind of way Pakistan does have relations with India, and given the way Pakistan invades India through terrorists, it's not going to be that easy.
Okay, so stay on with us. Kamar Agha, foreign affairs expert, also live with us right now. What do you make of what Russian foreign minister? Okay, I think we've lost that line. We'll try and reconnect with him a bit later. But thank you very much, Ambassador Suresh Goyal. Appreciate you speaking with us here on Times Now and sharing with us your perspective. Let's now move on, viewers, and shift our focus to another big story of the day. Viewers, the fuel price pain is here. It's become a reality, putting an end to all the speculations. The oil marketing companies this morning increased the prices of petrol as well as diesel in India by at least 3 rupees per litre. Now, this was expected given what is happening across West Asia and the way Brent crude prices have gone up significantly. The signs were already there. A couple of days ago, oil minister himself, in fact, mentioned how the Indian oil companies are losing around 1,000 crores per day. And after that, there was a hint that came from RBI Governor Sanjay Malhotra as well, wherein he suggested that if this war persists for some more time, if tensions persist for some more time, then it is just a matter of time before the government passes on the burden to the consumers. So let's now tell you a little bit about how much the prices have really gone up, in different parts of the country. And we will show you how the prices were earlier. In fact, let's also show you via the graphics how much the prices have gone up. Remember, this price hike breaks the 4-year-long freeze on rate revisions that had been in place since April 2022. And this comes days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's appeal to reduce petrol and diesel consumption. So the government there trying to shield the Aam Aadmi by also asking people to reduce fuel consumption, because this hike clearly was inevitable. It was in the offing. And there you have it. This is where the prices were earlier, and this is where the prices are right now. In Delhi, in fact, petrol is now going to cost 97 rupees and 77 paise. It used to cost 94 rupees and 77 paise earlier. In Kolkata, it has already crossed a century. It was 105 rupees and 45 paise. Now it will cost 108 rupees and 74 paise. In Mumbai as well, it is going to cost 6 rupees and 68 paise. In Chennai, it is going to cost 103 rupees and 67 paise. So essentially, there has been a 3 rupee hike in the petrol and diesel prices. Now, government clearly is of the view that this hike that we have seen here in India is much lower than what other countries have seen since the war began on 28th of February. Take a look at this report that we got for you from the ground.
This is a very big surprise for common man throughout the country, where 3 rupees has been increased on diesel and petrol. We are at Andheri petrol pump nearby Andheri station, and you can see people are coming over here. We will try to speak to some of the people over here at the petrol pump. But first, I'll try to show you the rates which has been put up today in the morning. What is the rate of petrol in Mumbai? Petrol is 106.58 rupees. rupees. Speed petrol is 115.75 rupees, with diesel is 93 rupees and CNG is 84 per kg. So 3 rupees has been increased by the government.
पेट्रोल प्राइस और डीजल प्राइस जो बढ़ा है उससे आम आदमी को बेशक दिक्कत आएगा। ऑटोस, आम आदमी ऑटो पे चलता है, आम आदमी बस पे चलता है, इन सब में दिक्कत बहुत ज़्यादा आएगा। लेकिन मेरा ये पॉइंट है इस चीज़ में कि मैं बोलूँगा इसमें सरकार भी कुछ नहीं कर सकती, क्योंकि ये ईरान वॉर जो चल रहा है उसकी वजह से ये सब चीज़ें हो रही है। अब सरकार इसमें अभी भी मुझे लग रहा है कि सब्सिडी जो प्रोवाइड कर रही है, जिसकी वजह से 3 रुपये कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं पड़ रहा। अगर अब उसके अलावा दूसरे नेशंस में देखोगे वहाँ पे ज़्यादा परेशानी आ रही है। हाँ, थोड़ा बुरा टाइम चल रहा है अभी, लेकिन आई होप कि आगे जाके सब ठीक हो जाएगा।
They are not giving value to the common man now. They are only for the economists.
So this will be a very big effect, the 3 rupees increased in.
It will be a great effect for the transport also will be getting higher.
People seems to be not happy in this condition because their pocket will be now tiered off of 3 rupees has been increased, and this will affect common man widely throughout the country. But in Mumbai, the financial capital, also over here, it will be a very, very difficult situation for the common man.
So you heard the reactions from the ground. In fact, earlier I spoke with Rajiv Kumar, renowned economist and also former Vice Chairman Niti Aayog. Here's what he had to say about this price hike. Joining us today is renowned economist and former Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, Mr. Rajiv Kumar. Sir, thank you very much for joining us here today on Times Now. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. I want to ask you about the fuel price pain that India has got. Petrol and diesel prices have been increased by 3 rupees per litre. Your first reaction, we know it was inevitable, but did you expect prices to go up by 3 rupees?
Wonderful to be here. And, my first reaction actually is that this is lower than what I had expected. I'm being honest about it, because given what's happening to the global oil prices, with the Brent going up to 110, 120, and now around that level from about 80, and then the shortage of supply because of the Hormuz crisis, I was expecting a higher rise, and so I think the government is trying to calibrate it. And therefore, I'm not being a carrier of bad news, but a little more, some price hike. I hope it doesn't happen, but could come, subsequently.
Okay.
Therefore, this is very mild. This was inevitable, as you say, and I think all of us must accept this is the price of the West Asia crisis.
Can I ask you, you said that you expected it to be much higher, the price hike. What was the range were you expecting?
I was expecting between around rupees 5, and could be, and for example, petroleum could have been up to 7, and diesel could be lower, because diesel impact through the economy is much higher through the transport sector and the cargo and all of that. So, and the petroleum prices really are. The petroleum use is mostly consumption, our private vehicles and cars, etc. So therefore, what could have happened is to hike the petroleum prices more and keep the diesel prices a little lower, and also the gas prices, because gas is kind of a necessary, consumption item now. It's one of the essentials. So, but therefore, by keeping them both at the same level, I think. Government, as I said, is trying to bring in the inevitable, but in a gradual manner.
The argument by the opposition, Mr. Rajiv Kumar, is that when in the last 4 years, Brent prices were lower, at that time, the government did not pass on the benefit to the consumers, but now when the prices have gone up, they have passed on the burden.
Yeah, that's right, of course, but the government is just not, price is only one factor. The government has to take into account several factors in balancing the macroeconomy. And as I said, if you pass on the price decline to the consumer, that means that the bottom line of the oil companies, oil marketing companies, becomes worsens. I mean, they take the hit. So therefore, and then also a part of the price, to finished price, is government taxes, and government taxes contribute significantly to overall revenue, which keeps our fiscal balance in check. So the government has to be, it's always walking on a tightrope as far as petroleum prices are concerned, or for that matter, railway prices or electricity prices, because these are all basic inputs into our daily life. So which is why the prices were not passed through, the price declines are not passed through. However, what I hope, however, is that the government will at some point let the markets decide.
And let's now tell you what the government sources have said on the price hike that we have seen. According to the government sources, India is the visible exception. In fact, the price hike in India is definitely much lower than what we've seen in other parts of the world. It's the first hike after 76 days of complete absorption of the burden by the oil marketing companies. The Brent crude, in fact, remained around $100 per barrel in April and first part of May as well. It still remains above $100 per barrel. OMC's limited the increase to 3 rupees per litre is what the sources have said, and this is a modest 3.5% increase as compared to other economies, because in other parts of the world the increase has been in the range of 20 to almost 100%. Hormuz closure, government sources say, is one of the reasons why we are seeing this kind of a situation. OMCs are losing around 1,000 crore almost on a daily basis, and that's the reason why it was important to increase the prices. And this is the first revision that has happened, an upward revision in nearly 4 years. Last time the prices were revised were in 2022. Listen in to what the opposition leaders had to say.
This fuel price hike is due to the incompetence of the BJP government. The oil prices were deregulated during the UPA era, 2013. The BJP opposed it, but still they continued with the policy when they came back to the government. The meaning of this deregulation is that whenever the crude oil prices go up, the fuel prices will go up, petrol diesel prices will go up. Whenever the crude oil prices come down, the petrol diesel prices will also come down. But whenever the crude oil prices went up during the BJP government from 2014, the fuel prices risen. But when the crude oil prices came down, the fuel prices did not come down. They were artificially kept at a higher price by charging extra duty. Don't allow the common man to suffer. The salary of the common man remains stagnant, whereas the fuel prices keeps rising. And this is not just about the people who are using vehicles, not the direct consumers. It will have an all-around effect.
Fuel price rise, we will check the impact on the society, on the economy. What is the impact? We will check the liability of the people also. Then we will implement corrective measures within our limit. You know that the state government is having certain limits, but we will check.
And with this, we will slip into a very, very short break. We'll be back with lots more. Stay with us.